With the thickened skin on our hands and our feet, and even with our nails, we find that it's important to trim our feet quite often. In my case, I trim my feet almost every day, sometimes maybe every other day. Sam, my boy here, I don't trim quite as much, but I do help him, and I probably trim his feet maybe every 2 weeks. What he's doing right now is he's soaking both his hands and his feet because we want to make the calluses a little bit softer, because we're going to use a razor blade. So what he's doing is he's just going to soak his feet and his hands for about 10 minutes, and then we'll trim. Sam's been soaking his feet for about 10 minutes now. I was just going to ask you, Russell, how often do you soak and trim your feet?
I have to do it about twice a month, but I have to soak my feet at least 2 to 2.5 hours to get them, so a bath would not work for me. So
Okay.
I just have to do it for 2.5 hours in a unit like this.
Now, Sam, I'm going to trim his in just a second. He's only been soaking for about 10 minutes. Why 2 hours? Why does it take 2 hours?
Mine are probably a lot thicker and harder, and so it takes a lot longer to get them soft again.
Nice and soft.
I can tell when they're done, just like when you look at a cake in the oven. I can tell when they're really white, they're soft enough where I can trim them.
Okay. Okay, Sam, let's have you come on out here. We're just going to have Sam step out. His feet are probably a little tender because of this. He's being a good guy. I am actually, Sam, can I have you turn the other way, please? And Sam is still young, and so, yeah, we're just going to have him lay right there. Sam is still young, and so I'm going to trim his feet. I trim my own, as Russ does his.
Right.
But when Sam's older, just so you'll know, I've got a sterile razor blade. And I am just going to take his feet, and they're soft, and I'm just going to start, say on the heels. I'm using a towel right here at home. I sometimes will just get a big piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to start. I'm actually more self-conscious now. A lot of times we'll just start whacking away. I actually just kind of trim, and Dr. Leachman is close by, and if I do anything that looks totally inappropriate medically, please let me know. I've never had a doctor actually have me trim. There's no real systematic way, but I'll just start going along here. I try not to get the boys' let them grow too thick, because it just feels like rocks in their shoes and our shoes, I think, when we let our calluses grow too thick.
That's how I've explained it to people when they've asked me, well, does it hurt to walk? And I said, well, give me your shoe and I'll pour sand in it, and then you put it back on.
Exactly. Thick sand, or not thick sand, but pebbly sand.
Right.
And see, actually, this is plenty soft, and Sam's being really good. The fine line is, right now, he's not hurting at all. If I did this to my skin, I would find blood, because I just can't trim like this anymore. I used to, but for some reason my blisters have changed in the last couple of years, and so trimming for me is a little bit different than this is right now. But Sam are you hurting at all, Sam?
No.
No, this is all just...
All that's hurting is the static electricity from the towel.
Sam says no, he's not hurting at all. In fact, this is a little soggy. And I'm probably not doing the best job here. and right here, he's got some, I'm just going to set this down here for a second. He's got some little pieces that kind of hang. And what I'll do with that, I've got a little trimming box here that I just keep my tools in, is I'll just take big clippers like this, and I'll just clip them off to make them softer like this. He's actually almost too soggy, so I'm not doing a very good job. But if you ever have something that just hangs and I can't quite get it with the razor blade, I'll use the clippers. How about you, Russell? Do you do anything similar?
I have what they call a little wire nipper I've got from Radio Shack.
Now, what is a wire nipper?
Just like a pair of pliers, but only they're sharp. Like they're sharp for cutting small, like wire cutters for cutting small pieces of wire.
I need Sam to hold still, because I'm gonna. One sword that's a little bit trickier always for me, and this is why I always use a very sharp razor blade. As soon as it starts to feel dull, it just goes right in the garbage can. I mean, I just use these. I just flick them out as easy as possible. They're cheap. Because dull is more dangerous. in my opinion.
Right.
Is that right, Dr. Leachman? At least for me. And also another reason to have them soft is because you have to work harder. If it's harder, the calluses are harder. You have to work harder, and then you end up going like this. And
with mine, I have noticed when I trim them that it's like there's a grain to it. If the blade starts, I use a single edge blade, and as I trim, sometimes it like the blade wants to go down into the foot, and so I got to back it out and come from the other direction to take it off. And then I've got that little hanging part there that is like a cut, but it's not. It doesn't hurt because I stopped soon enough, and so I have to be extra careful. To me, it's like there's a grain, like a wood grain.
yeah. One thing I do when I'm trimming, at least on my feet, I haven't really done it much on Sam's and Nate's, but as you notice, I trim, but we kind of get all this little extra jaggedy stuff, and sometimes I'll pull this off. But another tool that I've really enjoyed, and you can see it's well used, is my Pumice Stone. I don't really use it much on the kids, but if I see, it's just laziness, but I don't do it much with the kids, but I definitely do it on mine, and they can do it on theirs, but I like it because for some reason it gives my foot a little massage. I'll just do that like that, and it also gives it a nice smooth feeling. And I tend to do that too when I can't trim well, but my feet get really dry. And because I've got the blood vessels, is that right? The blood vessels sticking up. Sometimes if I use the Pumice Stone, I can saw off just very gently pieces of skin without hurting myself. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go on to and just do a few toenails. It's too irresistible to see these toenails and not trim them. I'll just start on this one because it's kind of sticking out quite a ways. I try not to tickle the boys. Now I can't just start whacking off right now. If I did that, if I just took this clipper and or the razor blades, sometimes I use the razor blades as well. If I just started whacking, Sam would be bleeding right now, and so I can't do that. I have to just kind of be careful because I am his mom and I can't feel. See, he lets me know. He let me know that I went just a little too deep, and he wasn't in a
little too far on the live skin.
A little too far on the live skin. He lets me know, and so we just be really careful. And we just kind of whittle around. We find that if we let them grow too long, they'll get really infected. A big trick is this big toe right here. I will not ever trim this big toe unless his feet are really nice and moist. And sometimes I'll use a combination between these or the razor blade. So this one's not too bad. We got that one pretty well. I was just going to ask Russell if you, how you trim your toenails. Are you able to trim your toenails?
I have to use a flat razor blade, single edge, and I have to go towards the end of the toe with it. Some of the smaller toes, I can use my little wire nipper.
Okay.
And just like you said, take a little bit off each time. If you take off too much, you'll know it.
Okay.
Because it just hurts.
Because I was just going to ask. Okay, I promise I won't touch your toe. Trust me. If I took my razor blade, I couldn't just whack that off.
Right now, no, because it's too hard.
But if it were soft, would it be able to come off, or would I draw blood?
No, you wouldn't draw blood on any of them. The only place I draw blood is on this side one. And right now, you can see this one is got a little infection in it. See the redness on there?
See there,
but you can see the white. It's got a little infection in it. And right in there on that foot. And on this one, the blood vessels are in there.
So there's no way I could just take that razor blade and start whacking
I have to leave it a little bit more growth on it than I do the others, because I've even done it to where I've even caught flesh underneath. It's like the foot has blown out farther than what it should be, and then you can't walk for 2 days.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show it's all interesting. I mean, it's all different.